I paid off my girlfriend's student loan as a surprise birthday gift, and she walked out on me. I never imagined a moment that I thought would bring us closer would instead tear us apart. But here we are, and honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. My girlfriend and I have been together for 4 years, and she's one of the strongest, most disciplined people I've ever known. She grew up with basically nothing. She was raised by a single mother who worked multiple jobs just to stay afloat. And even though she doesn't talk about her childhood much, I've always been able to tell that those years shaped her deeply. They made her fiercely independent, sometimes to a fault. I, on the other hand, grew up in a completely different world. I come from comfort. Stability. A family that never had to think twice about bills or groceries or emergency expenses. I never realized how different our experiences were until we started dating seriously. And let me just say this, money has always been a sensitive topic between us. Not because she wanted mine, in fact, the opposite. If anything, she hated when I tried to do anything remotely expensive for her. Early in our relationship, I used to buy her nice things. Small gifts, a necklace, a book she'd mentioned, even a fancy skincare set once. Nothing crazy, just thoughtful stuff. But every single time, she would tense up. She'd force a smile, thank me, and then we would both pretend everything was fine, except it wasn't. I could feel the discomfort radiating off her. Eventually, she told me the truth. She didn't like gifts because she didn't want to feel like she owed anyone anything. She didn't want to feel kept. She didn't want to feel like a charity case. And man, I can't lie, hearing that hurt. Not because she was wrong, but because I realized how clueless I had been. My love language is giving. Doing things. Providing. Helping. But hers? Hers is independence. Stability she built with her own effort. Pride. So we found a weird compromise that actually worked for a while. If I bought something for myself, a jacket, a gadget, something she also liked, she would accept it without feeling uncomfortable. She'd borrow it, use it, enjoy it. As long as it didn't feel like a direct gift, she was okay with it. And honestly, I adapted. Because I loved her. And I wanted her to feel safe and respected. Fast forward to a few months ago, when I started seriously thinking about proposing. I had the ring planned out. The moment. Everything. But she told me, very firmly, that she didn't want to start a marriage with debt on her back. She had student loans she'd been chipping away at for years. Slowly, consistently, stubbornly. All on her own. I offered to help, once. Just once. She shut it down immediately. So, like an idiot, I decided to help anyway. Last week was her birthday, and I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be memorable in a good way. And honestly, I thought paying off her debt would be the ultimate gesture of love. A way of saying, I've got you. You're safe with me. We can finally move forward. With the help of my brother, who works in finance and knew how to navigate the payment process, I paid off her entire student loan the morning before her party. I remember feeling excited. Nervous, but excited. I thought she'd cry, hug me, maybe get mad for a second but then soften. I thought this was going to be one of those movie moments where everything changes for the better. Instead, it became the worst moment of our entire relationship. The party ended, the guests left, and as soon as the door closed, she turned to me and asked why I had been acting weird all night. I stupidly grinned and told her I had a special birthday surprise, something that would change her life. The second I told her I paid off her loan, her entire face changed. Not with relief. Not with joy. But with something like betrayal. Like I had punched a hole straight through her sense of self. She asked me, very calmly at first, if I was joking. I told her no. And then she exploded. She told me I had crossed a massive boundary. That I made a decision about her life without asking her. That she had been fighting for years to pay down that loan, and I took the victory away from her just so I could feel like a hero. And honestly, hearing that cut deep. Because it wasn't true. At least, that's what I wanted to believe. But then she said something that genuinely shook me. She said, "You can't possibly understand why this hurts. You've never had to struggle. You've never had to claw your way out of anything. You don't know what it feels like to finally be proud of yourself, only to have someone erase it in 1 second." And the worst part? She wasn't wrong. I tried explaining my side. I tried telling her I did it because I loved her, that I wanted us to start our next chapter without that weight on her shoulders. I told her I thought I was doing something good. But she wasn't having it. She said it wasn't about the money, it was about trust. About autonomy. About feeling like her life was still hers. She packed a bag that same night, barely speaking. I asked her to stay. I told her we could talk it through. She just shook her head and said she needed space, space to think, space to breathe, space away from me. She went to her mother's house. And she hasn't come back. It's been days now. The decorations from her party are still up. And the house feels painfully quiet. Every time I walk past the room where her presents still sit unopened, I feel like a complete idiot. I've been replaying everything in my mind, trying to figure out how something done with good intentions ended up hurting her more than anything I've ever done. And the truth is, I get it now. Not fully, I'll never fully understand what her struggle felt like, but I get enough to see why this broke her trust. She wasn't angry because I spent money. She was angry because I made her feel small. Helpless. Like she needed to be rescued. And that was the last thing she ever wanted. I keep thinking back to all the little signs I ignored. The way she tensed up when I insisted on treating her. The way she avoided letting me buy her anything too nice. The way she talked about wanting to earn everything she had. I thought her debt was just a burden. But to her, it was proof that she survived something hard and came out stronger. And I took that away from her. I wanted to be the good guy in the story. But instead, I became the reason she felt powerless again. And I hate that. I hate that I did that to her. I want to call her. I want to tell her I'm sorry. I want to fix it, somehow. But I also don't want to push her when she asked for space. So now I'm stuck in this horrible limbo, unsure if this is something we can come back from or if I've permanently damaged something that mattered more than I ever realized. So now I'm left with this question, and I genuinely don't know the answer. Am I the asshole for paying off my girlfriend's debt without asking? Here's my take on this situation. I don't think the guy was trying to hurt her. In his mind, he did something thoughtful, something meaningful, something that he believed would make their future together easier. His intention wasn't malicious at all. He wanted to protect her, support her, and maybe, yes, feel like he was doing something big for the woman he loves. But intentions don't erase impact. To someone who grew up struggling, independence isn't just a preference, it's a core part of who they are. When you've fought for every inch of progress in your life, doing something on your own becomes a source of pride. And if someone steps in and does it for you without asking, it can feel like they just took away the one thing you worked so hard to earn. That's what happened here. He didn't just pay off a loan. He accidentally touched the deepest part of her identity, the part shaped by survival, sacrifice, and self-reliance. That doesn't make him a villain. But it does explain why she felt betrayed. At the end of the day, this situation comes down to communication and understanding. Two people can love each other deeply, and still completely miss each other's love languages. He showed love by giving. She receives love by standing on her own. The real question is whether they can come back together, talk honestly, and learn from this. Because sometimes, the hardest lessons in a relationship aren't about what we do wrong, but about what we didn't understand. Let me know in the comments. Would you feel grateful, or would this cross a line for you too? Thanks for listening to this story. If you have your own take on what happened, I'd love to hear it. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about it. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next story.